Hello everyone, good morning, welcome back to the Sports Morning Update with, of course, Sports Today. And today, obviously, there's going to be a lot of interesting sport happening, but the main focus is, of course, going to be on the T20 World Cup final. Will it be a 1992 repeat for Pakistan, or is it going to be a case of England adding another World Championship in the span of 3 years to their trophy cabinet? Well, based on what it is that the captains had to say, we actually have some interesting, peeks, let's say, into the mindset that they've been carrying into this particular World Cup. Now, first off, let's speak of this man, Babar. We know for a fact his form hasn't been that great, but he did find some with a nice 50 against New Zealand. And speaking ahead of the match in the pre-match press conference, he said that, look, it's been really nice to see the middle order step up, and I'm happy that they could do so. I know that other batsmen have had form and I haven't, but everyone's done really well to keep me motivated. But perhaps the most interesting thing he said was about the comparisons between 1992. He said, yes, there's a lot of parallels there, and it's actually pretty interesting to see, but we just want to focus on working hard right now and actually ensuring that we can do the best as we can to actually add another World Cup to our World Cup, our trophy cabinet. Now, obviously, most people are actually seeing Pakistan as slight favourites, given that they've actually really defied all odds to get here, and we don't really know which Pakistan team is going to turn up, but don't quite count England out just yet. In fact, Josh Buttler, this man has been very calm throughout the tournament. Remember, even before the India-England semi-final, he said very clearly that, look, we're going to do our best to ensure there's no India-Pak final. He said as much. Not just that, though, he's also shed some interesting light in terms of, the number, how it is that the England cricket team are taking inspiration from sports beyond their own, and how well England are doing there, or how England are doing there. They're not always doing well. So he's spoken about the fact that, we're seeing there's a lot of World Cups happening. There's the Rugby World Cup that was happening in recent times. We know that the Football World Cup is coming up. And look, we know that football is that one sport in England that we could never hope to replace. It's the people's sport. It's the most popular sport. But it's really nice that the World Cup final is on free-to-air TV in England. That's a good way to actually get new fans and actually, bring more eyeballs to the product. Remember, the last time this happened when England made it to the final, England actually won the tournament. So there is precedence there, and there's some good signs even for England, despite the fact that Pakistan are doing the absolute best that they can to ensure that they make this an absolute repeat of the 1992 World Cup. Now, sticking to cricket news, we have the first trade of this year's IPL, the trade window. And remember, the trade window will shut in, if I'm not wrong, a couple of days by November 15th. And the first trade has finally been made. Jason Behrendorff has been traded by the Royal Challengers Bangalore to the Mumbai Indians. Now, it's worth noting that Behrendorff has previously played for the Mumbai Indians. He had a short stint with the team, but he's been a bit of a journeyman in the IPL since. He had a year with CSK, then a year with the Royal Challengers Bangalore. He didn't really get much game time, and now he's back with the Mumbai Indians, and MI will hopefully be hoping that he's one of those players who can kind of help revive their form, because you remember they had a terrible 2022. They ended up finishing last on the table. We're nowhere near the great team, or one of the most feared teams in the IPL. We're nowhere near any of that. Moving focus now from the world of cricket to the world of football, and we have plenty of news here which happened, some very interesting Premier League matches. Arsenal ended up registering a massive win over Wolverhampton Wanderers that now ensures they go into the World Cup break. Remember, there's going to be no club football now because the World Cup is exactly a week away. They're going into that World Cup break with a 5-point lead over second place Manchester City. Now, doubtless you'd be asking yourself, how did it suddenly become a 5-point lead when up until recent times it's only a 2-point lead? The answer to that is simple. It's this man, Ivan Toney, who scored 2 goals for Brentford to ensure that they managed to stun Manchester City. That's right. It's not a drill. This is not some sort of false alarm. It's very real. Brentford beat Manchester City 2-1, courtesy of goals from Ivan Toney. Now, Ivan Toney obviously had his own motivation to do well, because he was expected. Many people thought that he would be one of those players who would be making the England squad for the World Cup, but he didn't. He did afterwards very pointedly celebrate by doing the blocking out the noise celebration. And he said afterwards that, look, obviously I'm disappointed, but it's not really in my hands. All I can do is work hard, keep scoring goals, and hopefully I'll get my chance. It's a great attitude to have, but the best way to do things is to actually prove people wrong on the pitch. And what better way to prove people wrong than scoring 2 goals against the defending Premier League champions? No better way. Speaking of, big teams getting upset or not, depending on your mileage, this man, Joe Willock's sole goal ensured that Newcastle United beat Chelsea 1-0 in the final match for both teams ahead of, as I said, the World Cup break. The loss for Chelsea now means that, as most of you, if you're a Chelsea fan like me, you'd know that they've now lost 3 straight games in the league on the trot, 4 if you count the Carabao Cup loss. So not a great time to be a Chelsea fan. The break between the World Cup break couldn't have come at a better time for Graham Potter, because of course the pressure had been ramping up. Maybe sometimes all you need is just that little bit of a break to help reset things and get the players back in better perspective. Hopefully that's the case. Whether or not that is, well, we'll only know in about a month's time, won't we? Moving focus on to sports beyond cricket and football. And if you're a Mercedes fan like myself, big news. They will be starting first and second on the Brazilian Grand Prix race week, Sunday. This is again not a drill. Mercedes have in fact going to be starting first and second on the grid. That hasn't happened all through the year. You remember George Russell did take a pole position in Hungary, but what happened afterwards was that they couldn't win the race and Lewis Hamilton didn't start second. So this time around, George Russell won the sprint race, which means he starts first. Lewis Hamilton, recently crowned honorary citizen of Brazil, is going to be starting in second. Can Mercedes get that monkey off the back and actually, get that first win of the season? They do have a good chance to. Why is that the case? Well, I actually do intend doing a small video on that, so stay tuned for that. We'll be talking about how it is that they can do that in just a short while. Beyond that, we're ending the news wrap with this man, Shiva Thapa. Now, he was, of course, also part of the boxing contingent that was taking part in the ASB Asian Elite Boxing Championships. He made it to his final, but unfortunately had to settle for a silver due to suffering a bit of an injury in the final. Nevertheless, good showing from him, and it's something that he would doubtless hope would help him kind of get his form back on track, because remember, he had a very disappointing time in the Commonwealth Games that took place earlier this year. He couldn't secure a medal, and he was actually one of the favorites to do so. So, if you're an Indian fan, that's good news for you to be hearing. And that is the end of this particular edition of the Sports Wrap. Thank you all so much for joining us. As always, if you enjoy what it is that we do, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and of course leave us a comment and tap the bell icon so you know when we're going live or uploading a new video for you guys. Then you can go ahead and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook as well. And don't forget to show the wonderful folks at AajTak some love by downloading the app on your mobile phone. Thank you all once again for joining us. As always, I've been Shane Dias. I hope to see you all with us through the day. But for now, goodbye.